only about 50%, and it depends where it is. So you won't be able to buy anything with 5% down. But they will do some financing, yes. It's limited to 4 properties, and there's a lot of criteria involved. But yeah, there are some possibilities. They're few and far between, but there are some.
RBC Bank was doing it too. They've gone through a merger with PNC Bank. So they're kind of looking at some of their lending policies, I guess, too.
Harris Bank also, they're owned by BMO, Bank of Montreal. They have some programs too for people under their own names. We're buying under company names, so it's very, very hard to find any kind of bank financing right now. So that's why we have to buy with cash. So,
and that's obviously benefits to be buying under like a company name with an LLC.
There are tax and liability benefits.
Exactly, only for the liability, and then the same. I think I mentioned earlier, like we have our own individual companies and we utilize LLCs also. So a big part of that is to funnel money out of the LLC to our corporation, so that in the event of getting sued or anything like that, the cash that's kept in that LLC is minimal, and the number of properties in an individual LLC also is kept low. So it's just again for a liability perspective.
80% of the lawsuits in the world are filed in the U.S. So you got to be very conscious of that.
I was gonna say, like, LLCs aren't very common in Canada, are they?
No.
Like,
Here, well,
even
we have limited
a liability company, you're usually personally liable.
For individual projects, individual properties, and we partner with them to purchase the property, and it's either going to be a flip or it's going to be a buy and hold. So, first of all, what is private lending? Well, if you think of it, the way that the banks make their money, the banks take in deposits, they take those deposits and they lend it back out in the form of loans, mortgages, credit lines, credit cards, anywhere from 3-4% to 23%. Now, the reason they can lend at 4% is usually because that loan is backed by a real estate asset. So mortgages, you get better rates, and the reason is if they have to go after you because you haven't paid, well, they got a property that normally has not lost value. Now, in the U.S., that was not the case, but here, the property is worth something, so they have something that they can resell, get their money back. So basically, the program that we have acts the same way. We have our investors who are really acting as the bank. They're lending the money. They're getting a first lien on the property, which is a mortgage. If something happens, then they can come back and they get the house. So, the reason that well, we can buy properties in the States at, well, below 40% below current market values. I purchased a property at 75% less. So that's an average. For certain markets that lost a lot more. So the reason that we bring on investors is because we need cash. We only have so much of our own that we can use. After that's gone, well, we're either stopped or we have to find more. So we can bring on investors, and like we mentioned before, having cash is really key to the whole thing because we can act fast. We see a property, there's lots of competition, we can place an offer, and we can close within a couple of weeks. So having cash is important. We can pay our private lenders up to 15%. It depends on the property. Anywhere from, I would say, a 6 to a 15, and it's all specific to the property, to the deal that's at hand at that moment. This is just an overview here of the process of finding the deal and how it works through kind of as a flow. We're going to have some handouts that we'll hand out at the end here, and that flow chart is actually in there, so you'll have a better chance. It's probably a little hard to read there. How do our private lenders get paid? Well, every month, every quarter, depending on how we structure the deal, we'll send a check out for the interest payment to our private lenders. Then we'll either fix and resell the property, or we're going to refinance it because we want to hold it and rent it for long term. So after we paid our investors, the mortgage has been satisfied, then you're no longer involved, and we can move on to the next one. Now, a real important factor to people who invest is the protection of their capital. They want to make a decent return on their money, but really, the money that I'm putting in is going to be there when I want it. And we have a program. The program that we have is we'll never borrow more than 75% of the value of that property. So there's always 25% equity in the property, which if you get the property, because we haven't lived up to our part of the deal, you have 25% in there right away. So it's kind of a security blanket. The different documentation that we have, all our documentation is prepared by lawyers in the specific markets, whether it's Orlando or Phoenix or wherever it is. There's a promissory note that details the details of the loan, the interest rate, the terms, the payment frequency, those types of details. There's a mortgage, which is also prepared by the lawyer. It's recorded at the county in the specific county that we purchased the property. A copy of that is then sent to the investor, so they have it on file. That mortgage gives you the right, same as a mortgage here. If you don't follow your mortgage, it gives the bank the right to foreclose on it. We purchase property insurance, obviously, in all our properties, and the investor who's invested with us is named as the first payee. If the property burns down, the investor gets paid first, anything left over goes to us. And title insurance. Troy mentioned a while ago, title is very important to do title searches on a property. And we do title searches, but we also purchase title insurance. This is all at no cost to any of our private lenders. We take care of all of that. This is just a comparison of what a GIC will get you right now. $100,000 investment, you can probably get 2%. If you can get a little more, you won't get a lot more these days. $2,000 a year. There's no penalty or anything. We do like to have at least 2 months notice because we may have to juggle some things around, but if you need your money, you need your money. This here compares to investing your money in the stock market versus the private lending that we offer. Some companies, some stocks that you buy do pay a dividend, not all of them do. The dividend is decided by the company. It can go up, it can go down, it can be canceled. Versus the private lending where the interest rate that we've agreed on at the beginning, you've agreed on, is what you're going to get. The value of the stock is decided by many factors, political, economic factors. You know, terrorists can put a bomb somewhere and that affects the price of a certain stock. Your investment with us is protected by a property, a physical property, a house. So right now the values of the properties that we're buying have pretty much stabilized. They don't seem to be going down as much. Some markets, they are still going down a bit. Some markets are actually going up. Orlando is one of them. The prices have started to go up in the last 2 quarters. And also decision making. When you buy a stock, you don't really have any input as to where that company is headed. It's decided mainly by big shareholders, pension funds. When you invest with us, well, you're the only investor on that specific property. We never take more than one investor on a specific property. So. And here, that's just a privacy statement we have. We guarantee complete confidentiality to anybody that we deal with, so you don't have to worry about that. And we also have teams in place down there, professionals that help us with this. So anytime we have a question, we always have somewhere to go to be able to get an answer. So we're not really on our own. We work together, but there's all kinds of people doing the same thing. And we also work together on different deals, so we kind of partner on certain things. So you have certain people who are experts in their field on certain things. So we're not all experts on everything, so we can always ask other people for suggestions or if we have questions. And that's about it. Any questions, anyone?
So do you have that set up so that you pay the investor or the person that is renting or whatever?
No, our company, we would, in this case here, we would purchase a property. If it's for rental, we'll put a renter in it. We pay the investor. The tenant pays us, and we pay the investor.
Handle all the management.
Would there still be U.S. rules involved then, or is it just straight from you considering?
What kind of rules?
Well, just any of the withholding things or any of these U.S.
Yeah, he's basically asking, as an investor, do we have to set up the U.S. account, U.S. liability?
No.
Or do you guys take care of that and transfer it to us?
Yeah. We take care of all that. We send you a check and you can deposit it to your Canadian account.
If you're a straight investor on interest rate, like interest rate investor, There's no tax implications. You can claim it on your Canadian taxes. If you end up, there's a couple options. You mentioned earlier the different types of properties and different types of structures. Decide to go with a partnership on it for appreciation of the property. That appreciation is taxed in the States, but the cash flow is not. So
If it's just a straight interest payment, then there's no US tax liability. There is a tax liability in Canada, obviously. And depending on your personal situation, that can vary. But as far as in the US, there's nothing there. There's some paperwork to be filled out, of course. We have accountants who can handle that. And like Troy said, if somebody wants to partner with us and have an equity stake on the property, then there could be US tax liabilities.
Yeah, and we're not U.S. accountants by any means, but we have them in our team, so it's just depending on the property, the deal, the per individual person, we can always, work through discussions with the accountants.